Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Julie. Today I have a beautiful workshop to share with you. This is a 6-page workshop and it was created with the Frames and Flower paper collection. Now you might have overlooked this gorgeous collection. It's right here on page 29 and it is absolutely gorgeous. However, you only have 3 double page layouts. Now for cards or for favors, that's more than enough. But when you're trying to scrapbook, it's a little bit more tricky. So I want to share with you how I've used this beautiful collection to create 6 gorgeous pages, so 3 double page layouts. And we're going to start with this one right here. I'm going to show you how to do this really pretty treatment right here. I've got some ink distressing and a little bit of splatters. And basically what I did here is I used the paper sparingly because this pattern paper in particular is quite busy. I did introduce another paper collection, again from the annual catalog, and it's this one here, Country Woods, and it pairs with this beautifully. So I'll point that out as we go. So we've got a piece right here, continuous at the back. In this collection, you've got these cute frames, and they are perfect to frame out 3x4 photos. So I really like the way that that turned out. So let's do this really fun treatment here together. I'm going to move these out of the way. I'm going to bring in my all-purpose mat. And just to speed up this video a little bit, I did go ahead and I did ink blend with my blending brush right here at the top of this scratch piece of paper. So what I'm doing here is I'm mimicking this area of the layout, and hopefully you can see that. It is so pretty. Now you might notice that there's a little bit of difference between these two colors. I'm slowly collecting all of the inks to match the Stampin' Up! Colors, but for those of you who are here from close to my heart, the color that matches this the most is peach. Now, I will add this in the description box below. Stampin' Up! Was really good in providing us with matching colors of the current colors. So when Close to My Heart closed, the current colors that we had were paired up to Stampin' Up! Colors. And this one here says, so the original color in the paper collection is Petal Pink. And it's funny because to me this looks a little bit peach. And then they've paired it up with peach, which looks a little bit more pink to me. But you can tell that it's going to work just fine. So I've gone ahead and I've done the ink blending. So let's do the splatters. Now what they did here was awesome, but if you've been with Stampin' Up! For a long time, you have other colors. I did all of my splatters here in Lost Lagoon. If you've been with Close to My Heart for a long time, I found that Twilight, which is a really old color, matches Lost Lagoon really nicely. I am doing my splatters with reinkers. I know most of us got reinkers from Close to My Heart when they closed, and I thought, why not put these to good use? Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add 1, 2, 3 drops. That's it. 3 drops right in the center, and then I'm going to add some water. So if you know me, you know that I love my fan brush. So I'm going to use my fan brush for splatters, and I'm going to add some water here, and you can tell that I added quite a bit of water. We're going to mix that up, and this is what gives it this really nice translucent look, and it's done with reinkers. So let's give it a test. Now I'm going to test it right here at the bottom. The first tap is usually very wet. So I think that that looks good. So when you're doing your pages, I would highly recommend doing your first tap off. And then you just go ahead and you tap with your reinker. And because there's a lot of water, it just gives this really cool look. Now let's bring those 2 pages together and see the color difference. I'm just going to clean off my mat. So this is the difference between both of those colors. This is done with Close to My Heart colors, And this one right here is done with Stampin' Up! Colors. You can see here that you can completely work with your existing products to complete this gorgeous workshop. So let's bring the other page. So this is layout number 1. And I really like the way that it turned out. I've got a couple of tags here. And I've also brought in the linen thread. I think that this is a really good addition to my scrap room. I find that it makes really pretty bows and it kind of goes with everything and anything. You'll also notice, and they're a little small, but they're here. So you've got some up here and here. And then you've got some here at the bottom, little clusters. These are ombre matte decorative dots, and look at those, aren't they great? So I did use a lot of these colors here. The only color I didn't use is the blues, but everything else really matches this paper collection. So let's take a look at layout number 2, and I'm going to talk about some of these word art that we have on this page and the title. Here you have layout number 2, and once again I brought in some of that country wood. I used a lot of the punch out, like there's a lot of die cuts in this collection. It was really hard to sacrifice some of the papers because they were so pretty, but I only had 3 sheets, so I really had to work with what I had. Let's talk about these great titles and these little word art that you're seeing sprinkled here and there on these layouts. As part of this workshop, you will get a sheet that is printable. Now, if you don't have access to a color printer, that's okay. When you print them in black and white, they will print a different shade of gray, and then you would simply add the color with your blender brushes right on these pieces. Now I'm going to take this as an example, and I'm going to show you how easy these are to cut. I'm just going to bring in my trimmer here, and I'm going to show you how easy these are to cut. Now keep in mind, this is just copy paper. I would definitely print this on cardstock, and hopefully your printer can do that. I just wanted to go back to the colored version of this. Now you can definitely take this to Staples to have them printed. They will print on cardstock, you just have to ask them. And there is a print release form that you can take with you. Sometimes when you have them printed professionally, people are a little bit sticky about that. So this is what you will get when you print your workshop, and you can print page number 8. They're all on here. Now I did make all of the box, the cut lines if you want, in a light gray so that if you kind of miss it, the black line are not going to show. Like originally I thought of making them all in black, but I find that when I make them a lighter shade of gray, it is definitely easier and more forgiving when you are cutting. You will also notice that they are all placed in a way on this page that makes it super easy to cut your titles. So this title here is for layout number 3 if it's done in black and white, and I'll show you what I mean by adding color to it, so you can see that that was super easy to cut. The next one here was the one that I just showed you from layout number 2, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this here and here. And then the only thing you have to do at this point is dovetail, and you actually have lines here to follow. So minimal cutting with these printables, and you get the perfect title. Everything has been sized to fit on the layout, and I tried to make it as easy as possible to cut out because I don't like to fussy cut, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. So you saw how easy that was. So that's for number 2. And then you have the title here for layout number 1, but I'm going to show you here the word art. Again, these were placed on this sheet so that it's easy to cut. They all line up. We're just going to go ahead here and cut them down. And it's that simple. Do you see how easy I'm cutting all of these? And you can pick and choose where you want to put those on your layout. So I'm going to do, I'm calling these my long cuts if you want. And then I just go ahead and I cut these. Now you can see here that you're just going to follow the line. I'm just going to put that here and I'm going to cut that and it's going to be nice and straight. Now, if you want to use a guillotine trimmer, I do have one somewhere. Once you've cut them out in larger squares, this is also an alternate way to get them cut out quickly and easily. So you can see that I'm cutting them out really easily and they're nice and straight. How easy was that? Super easy to get all of your titles and they're all on one sheet. If you don't have access to a color printer, this is what you're going to end up with, a grayed out version of this title. Let me bring back my all-purpose mat and my blending brush, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start adding some color. Now, it's not going to be exactly the same look, but I think it's going to dress up this title just as well. Now, it's not the exact same look when it's black and white, but you can tell, if I bring my piece of paper that we did before, you can tell that it will stand out and give it a little bit more presence on your page. The black was just a little bit too strong for this paper collection, so this is an option if you don't have access to a color printer. Now let's take a look at that layout one more time and then I'll show you layout number 3. So here's a look at layout number 2 again, and just to show you, if you don't have access to a color printer, this is what the title will look like in black and white. So it's going to print a shade of gray, and definitely by adding a little bit of ink blending, in this case here, if you match up the color, which is Lost Lagoon, or if you still have Twilight in your stash, it would look absolutely phenomenal. You'll see that there's some ink blending here at the end to make it look like a vignette. And again, the color match for that from Close to My Heart would be Toffee. Let's take a look at layout number 3. For layout number 3, I changed up the inking. So there's inking all around the cut pieces, the pattern paper, and the cardstock. The first 2 layouts were inked up with Toffee. And if you have the original colors from Stampin' Up, it would be Crumb Cake. And then this one here, I did switch it up a tiny bit and used Pewter. And the Stampin' Up color is Smoky Slate. And it just gives it a little bit of a different look. All of these are cutouts from that collection. And I did use the solid side of this paper right here. Do you see it right here? This one here, when you see it in a full 12 by 12 sheet, it was quite busy. Now, I did sacrifice that pattern paper, and if you don't want to do that, you would have to bring in either Twilight or Lost Lagoon as a full sheet of cardstock, and you could save some of that paper. But for me, I was okay using it because now I know that this collection is done. I've used up pretty much every single sheet of paper. Let me show you what's left. I don't know about you, but there's nothing more satisfying than using up an entire collection and moving on. So I do have 1 card left. And this is the piece of paper that I have left. This is it. This here was part of the cutout. And the only reason why I didn't use it is that it's not a full 12 by 12. But I can definitely go back and make a few cards. Now, I do have quite a bit of those die cuts. This collection has so many options. When I first started working with it, it was a little bit overwhelming to kind of spread them out on 3 layouts and make them look good and not make them take over the entire page. This is why I use the solid color on this page here so that you can actually appreciate all of the die cuts and see how pretty they truly are. Now you will notice here that there is an absence of word art. I'm not sure what this layout is going to be for, so I decided to kind of hold off before adding anything. You'll notice that the titles are very generic, so most layouts, or most photos I should say, will fit on this layout. And once again, if you're printing in black and white, this is the title in black and white. This is how it's going to look. And you can see here by adding a pop of that peach color or petal pink, you can totally dress up your title. This here, once again, is from the cottage wood, and I really like the pink tone and how it just dresses up this layout. So here you have a layout number 3, layout number 2, and layout number 1. If you're interested in this workshop, I will list all of the information down in the description box below. All of the hard work has been done. You just print the assembly guide and put these beautiful pages together, and of course, find beautiful photos to document. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and click that notification bell to get notified when I post new projects. If you enjoy workshops, click this video right here.